Steve, I understand you live in London at some point, or are you still living there?
No, I came to England in 71 to a town
No,
called
guys,
Luton
they
in
are
Bedfordshire.
hearing you, not yet. Pleasant good morning to all the cricket fans here in the Caribbean and in the United States. In India, good night to you, and in the rest of the world, whatever time of the day that it is, a pleasant good day to you all. Good night, good evening, and we're happy to be back live with you again as we are meeting to discuss the ICC T20 World Cup last group stage game between the West Indies and the Afghanistan. The big one, we're meeting to preview it. I have along with me Dennis E., the slated and recently nominated and slated to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame. He's from Southern California, and it's an honor to have him on. He's a cricket journalist as well, and analyst with us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. I have the president of the cricket show also with us from Florida. He's originally from Antigua and Barbuda, and he's Mr. Leon Francis. It's an honor to have him on as well. We have, as usual, the Hall of Famer and journalist, Mr. John Melbourne, also analyst with us here at the Development Academy as well. We have the executive chair of the Cricket Hall of Fame, and also the Hall of Fame is the main sponsor for this cricket show going out from the 1st of June to the 30th of June, as we are meeting each and every week to review and to preview the West Indies T20 World Cup journey. And we have the honorary secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Mr. Dale Brown. He's also a consultant with us, and here at the Development Academy is also a journalist. He's based in New Jersey. We have with us as well, last but certainly not least, the advocate of less fortunate in the UK. He has done a tremendous job for Chris Gayle and other cricketers in making sure they are taken care of when they come to the UK. He's also taken care of various West Indies teams that toured the UK in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and in the early 2000s. And he has done a tremendous job in raising funds for academies and associations with his annual match, Winston Davis annual competition. He's the president, and also Courtney Walsh. He worked very closely with him, and we are happy to have him on our program today, as he will be raising funds for the West Indies Cricket Development Academy with the upcoming games. We'll be showing you pictures of those games, and he will talk as we show you those pictures, and you are free to pose your questions to him, and we're happy to have him. Steve Stevenson, thank you for joining us this morning. Please say hello to the fans from all over the world. Also, they are watching from Bristol, they are watching from Liverpool, they are watching from Essex, and they're certainly watching from London. And say hello to
Yeah.
them and also to the
Okay.
Jamaicans.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone. And firstly, I'd like to congratulate all the participants for the great work you're doing to keep West Indian cricket alive wherever you are in the United States and elsewhere. Also, hello to all the fans that are actually watching the World Cup at the moment. And I'd say so far so good for West Indies.
Steve, could you tell the viewers a bit about yourself and the work that you are doing there in the UK? Because we know you won't be with us for long, so want to get
Yeah,
this out of the
yeah,
block
yeah.
first.
Okay. I went to I went to Camperdown School in Kingston about the same time as Don Curry and played Sunlight Cup cricket the same time as Michael Olin. Me and Michael are actually the same age. But I got involved with cricket in Luton. We used to play a 2020 league in the 70s. But my main contribution has been as the chairman of the Victoria Mutual Caribbean Cup in England. We had about 48 West Indian teams playing in that competition. I also have an annual Winston Davis competition. It's not going on anymore, but I supported Winston for about 16 years, raising probably about 50,000 for him. But I think it's some little things that I've done that have turned out to be quite important. For example, in 1994, as the chair of the Victoria Mutual, I went to the poorest club in Kingston and I gave Easton McMorris £1,000 worth of gears. This is 1994. But I did not realize that a 14-year-old boy by the name of Chris Gale got one of the bats. So when Chris Gale found out that the bat came from me, we have been friends ever since. And when he's in the UK, he's a very regular visitor to my house. He loves his Caribbean food. And when he was playing for Somerset, he used to drive past my home. I used to live in Swindon and the M4. He stopped at my house on a regular basis. Also, I sent 50 or more boots to Jamaica once. And Stephanie Taylor, the captain, the women's captain, told me that she got a pair of those boots when she was 17. But more importantly, forget about the stars. We have helped a lot of cricketers across the Caribbean who have came to the UK. Sometimes they came as pro. And what used to happen? Hello?
Go ahead, Steve. We're hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, what used to happen when the guys came as pro, some of them used to rush from the Caribbean islands before signing contracts. And when they came up on a Friday, some clubs was not paying the guys. So I used to intervene in the Central Lancashire League, the Kidderminster League, the Western Leagues, and various other leagues to make sure these guys got paid. I remember one player, I was contacted by Franklin Rose. He was in Sutherland, and Franklin said there was a guy that wasn't being paid. So we went down to where he was, sought out his payment, buy him some food, gave him some beddings, and so on. So a lot of the work that I've done, it's with the cricketers who came up as pro, and ordinary cricketers coming from various islands. The Victoria Mutual we were given 25,000 sponsorship, and we raised another 25. But we were non-profiting, and most of that money went back to the guys that came from the Caribbean. And I remember before the Victoria Mutual fall in 2007, we had £156 in the bank, and we gave a Barbadian cricketer £100 because he said he was coming up to UK to do a level 3 course, and we gave the other £50 to a cricketer from Jamaica. So we have helped a lot of cricketers from all over the Caribbean. I remember going to a match once in Northampton, and I saw this young man, really talented cricketer from Barbados, and he never had a pair of boots. His boots was actually torn and falling off him, and I sent him money to buy a new pair of boots. I also spent a lot of time, I looked after Richard Staple, who played for the United States. He came to England, and he was playing for a club called March, and the weather became really bad, and this was September, and I went to see Richard, but I didn't know. I can tell you this because it's in my book, Unbeaten Innings, and Richard gave me permission to talk about it. Richard Staple was a first-class cricketer, playing for Jamaica and tipped for West Indies, was sleeping in a caravan in a field. So I took him out of the caravan, but we found out there was a problem. He phoned my wife, and he had a bad cold, a bad head cold and a bad chest cold. And my wife, Pamela, said, Richard, what's happening? And then he confessed to say he was sleeping in this caravan. So we took him out of the caravan and we kept him at our house for 3 weeks. And then he played in Cornwall's benefit match. And then he went back to Jamaica and he told Shotgun Williams and he told a number of the selectors like Jackie Hendricks what had happened. And when I got to Jamaica, they all thanked me for looking after him. And that's how it started. So we cared for a lot of cricketers over the years. Another thing that came out was I came on KLS radio with Maurice Foster. And Foster says to me that Clifton Foulkes and Kirk Hamilton, 2 cricketers that were in England who played for Jamaica, but they never made it to the first class game. And I turned to Foster and I said, yes, but they made it as men. And he says to me, what do you mean? I said, look, I'm a social worker by profession. We got 2 guys, really talented, but because of the racism in UK at the time, they didn't make it. But they made it as men in the sense that they didn't end up in the criminal justice system. They didn't end up in prison. Both guys are married, they have their own house, and they're in gainful employment. So as far as I'm concerned, they have made it. And many of the cricketers that I've helped, we'll keep things confidential because of the professional ones that I've helped, but also for every 10 cricketers that I have helped, only one of them probably played for the West Indies, and some of them play for the various islands. So over the years, I've provided a lot of mentoring and guidance to a lot of these cricketers, and that's the reason when I come to Jamaica, I am feted. I'm put in the president box to sit. I meet with the Prime Minister, who personally come up to me and thank me for helping the cricketers. I've won a number of awards. For the 50th anniversary, I got the special award for sports from Babsy Grain in Jamaica. I've also received the Prime Minister's Medal of Honor from PJ Patterson. And I'm one of the only persons in the UK that have been honored by both governments. I received the MBE from the Queen in 1996 and the Prime Minister's Medal of Honor in 2003. But at the end of the day, I didn't do any of this work for any honors. I've been a youth worker, I've been a social worker, been involved in a lot of charity stuff. After the riots in 81 in Luton, I started community cricket for the police and community football. We went out to start a World Cup where we had India, England, Pakistan, and West Indies playing in a World Cup. And the first year, the special guest was Gordon Greenwich, who I'm still working with at the moment. So every year we had a rotation. One year we had Derek Randall for England. Other year we had Jadeja for India. And when it was Pakistan term, we couldn't find anybody. So we had the great Mustaq Mohammed, who lived in Birmingham as a special guest. So I've basically been involved in cricket for over the past 40 years. And I was offered a place on the Trelawney Cricket Board. And I was due to take up that place, but due to my daughter's illness, I was not able to take up the offer because what they were saying to me is that if I sit on the Trelawney Cricket Board as vice chair, I probably automatically become the president and I'll be on the Jamaica board. I'm also a social worker by profession, so I was going to help Winston Service with the child protection work that cricket clubs have to participate in now. But unfortunately, I didn't make it back to Jamaica, so I took Spain as a second choice. But I get regularly calls and emails from Jamaica, from the Caribbean, and also from England. People still ask me for help because I'm an equality and human rights advocate. and I've dealt with a lot of cases. My most successful case was a boy that was held at Her Majesty's Pleasure in Jamaica when he was 14, and I got him free. I won't mention the details on this program, but I got that individual free in Jamaica going back in 1989. So in addition to the cricket, I'm very much involved. I worked with the Home Office in England before, and I'm very much involved with the Windrush. My first book, Cold Arrival, Life in a Second Homeland, was about the Windrush generation, and this was in 1998. So the issue of the Windrush is nothing new. It's become prominent now, but some of us are dealing with the issues for a long time. My last book is Unbeaten Innings, published by ANSIBS, and there's a chapter about my work with the Windrush generation. Okay, I will stop there, and just pleased to be in contact with all these important people that's on the program. And congratulations once again for the hard work you're doing to keep our cricket going. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. E, do you have a question for Steve along with the others after you?
Well, my question is social idea, social living in the UK, simply because I've lived for many years in the UK before I actually migrated to the United States. So, Steve, in the recent report from the ICEC, the Commission on Inquiry into what has happened in cricket, you touched on some of the mistreatment, perhaps the racism you detected, but compare today to back then and the report that we've just seen. Has there been any changes brought about?
Yes, Dennis, there have been some changes. To be fair, I'd say since I've been involved in cricket in the UK, some of the best people I have met is some of the white people from the cricketing fraternity. So there's not a lot of racism from the fans as such. It's a system. They call the cricket is institutionally racist, and they basically have not taken the needs of black cricketers into account. For example, as you know, most of the cricketers that have made it, like my friend Devon Malcolm and Chris Lewis, those guys were 3 times as better than their counterpart. But what has happened is that as a result of the report, Devon Malcolm, former Test cricketer who is from St. Elizabeth in Jamaica, has been given this post as liaison officer for the Caribbean community. And I've been sort of helping Devon, because Devon came to me and I said, look, Devon, there was about 108 to 110 Caribbean clubs in the UK back in the day. I said, now we're only down to about 30. So he said to me, can I do a report for him? So I did this report, which I think he's passed on to the ECB, about the decline and share information with Michael Carberry, Ebony Rainford Brent, and people like that. Because we now also have the ACE program, which is for Caribbean Heritage Cricketers. And I must admit, Ebony Rainford Brent, who started the program, was honored by the Victoria Mutual competition in 2007. Devon Malcolm was honored in 2003. So we know these two people long before they became known nationally for helping cricket. But ACE program is going very well. And the last place on the ACE program, I managed to get Ebony to give it to a Guyanese heritage cricketer called Troy Henry. And Troy is now the captain of that team. And we're hoping that some of the cricketers from this program will go on to play for the counties. But yes, the racism has always been there. But in the early days, the cricket club were well respected, because all the Caribbean clubs in all the areas, nearly all the areas that we were in, we were like the local champions. We had so many good cricketers that we were almost invincible at the time. And it's unfortunate that many of these youngsters, both black and Asian, didn't go on to play county cricket because of the racism at the time.
Thank you. Mr. Godwin?
Yeah, Mr. Chambers, you have anything for Steve?
No, I kind of appreciate what he has done. One of these days on a different forum, you know, we'd love to hear where he found the time to do all of what he did. So, no, I save my questions to the next time we have him on.
Absolutely. Mr. Francis?
Yes. Good morning, Steve. I'm Leon Francis, President of the
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Pleased to meet you, sir.
And I am delighted to meet you as well. I noticed that you have worked along with Winston Davis. What is his present status? Is he still active?
Yeah. Winston is in a wheelchair. He lives in Bewdley, in a place called Worcestershire. This is the county where Ron Edley had been captain. He's quite stable. He can use his hands. He's coming to the event on Sunday, and he will use his hands to play domino and so on. But obviously, he can't walk. So what we do, although the cricket competition is finished, whenever I have an event, for example, I've had 14 receptions for the West Indies cricket team going back since 1994. The first reception, Richie Richardson was the captain, and the coach was Andy Roberts, and the manager was Wes Hall. And at this function, Brian Lara was also there. He had just broken the world record. And every time the West Indies comes up, they collect some money and they give it to me. This is the players. I usually notice all the monies are pristine print or notes that they draw from the bank. Every player draws some money and give it to Winston Davis. And I remember the last time Chris Gale, gave a substantial sum. And all of this money went to Winston Davis. So on the 24th of July, my 14th reception for the West Indies team, some money will be going to Winston Davis for that event. And also the event on the 23rd, I've earmarked some for Juniors Academy. But Winston is doing all right. It's just that, he's confined to the wheelchair, but he's doing all right. He's a Christian and he's a very nice, humble man, and he's doing okay.
Would you give him our regards? We think about him all the time, And
yes, I will give him my regards. When I see him, I will tell him what's happening, because when we speak on the phone, it's always half an hour, 40 minutes. So I want to phone him when I have the time, because he always wants updates on what's happening. And Courtney Walsh and other people contact him when they're in the UK. Collis King was asking for him the other day. So he's well respected and he's well looked after.
Thanks for the work that you are doing.
Yeah, thank you.
John Melbourne, Hall of Fame, and then the Honorary Secretary, Mr. Dale Brown. Any question for our special guest before he leaves?
Yes, a very good morning to the panelists and certainly to the listeners across the oceans. I don't know if I heard you correctly, Steve. Are you currently in UK or in Spain? I seem to be getting a Spain in there somewhere.
No, I live in Spain, but what does that mean? As soon as I got to Spain, people keep phoning me. Can you come to speak at Windrush event? Can you come to speak for Black History Month because of my books? So I said to people, if you want me in the UK, send my airfare and start to pay me a fee. And that's what they do. They keep inviting me back all the time. In February, I was invited to a Black Children in Care conference, because I used to be a social worker looking after Black children. And they paid my fare and they paid my travel and everything. And I went back to the UK, spoke at this conference, and they gave me an award, a special award. I was quite shocked because The work I did with black children in care was 40 years ago. So that's what's been happening. Since my book been out, I've been bombarded by people contacting me. So I'm going back on Thursday, and I'm speaking at the Pillar in Milton Keynes on the 21st. I spoke there last year with the Honorable Terry Long, I think he's Minister of Tourism.
Yes.
Spoke with him last year. I'm going back there to speak on Friday, and then I'm speaking in Luton at the Windrush opening event on Saturday. Then the cricket match is on Sunday, and I got some more invitations. So that's what I'm really happened. My book has generated a lot of interest, and people say it's a long time coming because I've been working quietly for many years, and I don't talk about any other confidential work that I do with the cricketers, because some of the cricketers, when they come up to England and things are not going well, they don't want anybody to know. For example, we had one Jamaican cricketer was sleeping on a floor in London, for a period of time, and this is first-class cricketers. So they come up sometimes and things happen, and they don't want people from the various islands know that things didn't work out, and some of them end up coming to stay with me for a week or so. So most of the work remain confidential, but people always say they notice that when I go to Savannah Park and I'm watching them practice, and this gentleman says to me, Who are you? Why is it that every cricketer that comes out of that net comes straight up to you and shake your hand? I saw Chris Gale came up and shake my hand, Sarwan, Chandapal, Desmond Haynes, who was on the manager at the time, and he was saying to me, they show you a lot of respect, which they don't show other people, which I don't think is very good. They should treat everybody with respect. But people are saying that they notice that I'm treated different. But it's because of the work that I've done. I've done the work with other people before they were famous. So they always remember me and my wife, Pamela, because of the fact that we looked after so much of them over the last 40 years.
Well, is there cricket then in Spain, number one? Number two, you reference to a book. Well, what's the name of the book?
My book got a cricket. It's Unbeaten Innings. Unbeaten Innings, published by ANSIB publication. ANSIB is the paper that had Old West Indian, Rural and Caribbean Times. Somebody called Arif Ali from Guyana. Actually, they are the publishers. But the book is not just it's a story about my work with West Indies cricket team. But it has stories about my equality and human rights work in the UK, because I was a former director of the Race Equality and Human Rights Service in Bristol. And the person that was the mayor of Bristol, Marvin Rees, was one of the young people who I mentored, and he became the mayor. So the book is not, although it's got a chapter on cricket and it's got a chapter on Windrush, it's about my race equality and human rights work in the UK over the past 40 years.
And cricket in Spain, any cricket there?
Yes, there is cricket there. There's a European League, not very good. It's about an hour's from here, but I'm going to contact them because Courtney Walsh is my personal friend, and he said he wanted to come to Spain to look for me. So the Spanish government said no problem. Courtney is an ambassador, so when Courtney comes to Spain, I might take him to link up with this cricket competition. And I know Gordon Greenwich, another good friend, he might want to come along sometime too. But I haven't started the link with the cricket in Spain. I've been asked to coach some kids on my urbanization because I became one of the first Caribbean persons to be elected to an urbanization in Spain. They're like small district councils. So they're asking me to do some coaching, but I only did level 1 coaching because when I was doing my certificate, I got injured and I didn't continue. But this is just some young people. But yeah, the interest is not there. What I've done, I'm trying to start a Jamaican diaspora in Spain. So I've got links with the ambassador in the UK has linked me with the connection in Barcelona and Madrid. So we might have a small Jamaican diaspora, more a social thing than a political thing, where we'll maybe celebrate Jamaican independence and so on. But the interest is not there. The interest is still in the UK. And the UK, they haven't left me alone since I landed in Spain. I got regular calls from the UK inviting me back. Just I give you an example of the sort of things I do. I got a call from somebody in Jamaica saying that they had a relative who wanted to join the JDF, Jamaica Defense Force, and the guy was waiting for 2 years. I made one call to a senior officer at the JDF on the Monday, and by Wednesday, this person got the interview. And that shouldn't be right anyway, but because of my influence, I helped the majors, the Jamaican majors used to come to train in a place called Watchfield in the UK. They come to do the master's degree. So I looked after 2 of them 1 year. But one of them turned out, he's now the brigadier at the Jamaica Defense Force. But that was something confidential I did, helping these 2 Jamaican families who were isolated in a village, training, doing a master's degree. But because of my contacts, I'm able to help people by just making one phone call. That's the reason why I do it, because some of the stuff that I do, it doesn't take a lot of time. I just make one phone call, and I done that for students. Students been here and they can't get a passport. I've got people passport for them in 5 days. Okay?
Yeah, Mr. Honorary Secretary.
Yes, good morning and greetings to all the viewers, fellow panelists, and it's really a pleasure to be speaking to the legendary Mr. Stevenson.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. As a social worker, as is mentioned by profession, your views pertaining to cricket would be somewhat unique. And as a published author, we know that you have published books, and it tells me that you are also a visionary, sir, because you formulate your own ideas and you put them to use and share them with the public in general. And to be an independent thinker, I think that is most impressive, sir. Now, I know that Chris Gale and the West Indies team at different times have really paid tribute to you. And as you mentioned, the Jamaican government and several individuals and organizations would have done that. And your contribution to developing cricket and contributing to cricketers' welfare, it is impressive. But for me, sir, the most impressive thing is the humanitarian part of your character, sir. You seem to do these things with a lot of compassion and understanding that success is not just on the cricket field, but is also off the cricket field. And I will ask you 2 questions, and you can answer them in order. One is, where can we purchase your book, Unbeaten Innings? I'm very interested in that. And if you have any history about the Windrush, I think people need to know about their history. And when someone like you write about the history, it's important that people read it so they don't repeat the mistakes that were made years ago. And they can understand the challenges that persons in the UK and in any diaspora will face, and how some can overcome it, but others may not be so fortunate. So could you let us know about your book, and let us know about how you go about formulating those ideas?
Okay, the book is published by ANSIP. It's on Amazon, so you can get the book from Amazon. With regard to my work, I'm also paying tribute to all you guys that participated on the program. I'm pleased that you are doing what you are doing, so it's not just me alone. So it's pleased to have you. And I may ask a question later, what is your Hall of Fame? I will come back to that. But in terms of the work, the reason why I end up doing a lot of this work, when I was a youth worker in Luton in the 70s, I was running the Starlight Club in Luton, 150 youngsters, but most of them were aspiring to be Rastafarians at the time. So I started the first Black Resource Library in the town. In those days, most of our positive role models were from America, like Martin Luther King and people like that. But over time, we have now got some of our old positive role models. So I started at the Starlight Youth Club. Most of the youngsters that was coming to the club were alienated and they were marginalized. And one of the things that I used was sports. I was the chairman of Ebony, one of the first black football clubs in the UK. And we were very lucky that we had Ricky Hill, the former England player, came and coached us when he joined Luton Town. And maybe I've been a lucky youth worker because that club have produced Mitchell Thomas, who played for Tottenham. I also had a cricketer called Benel John, and we went to Germany to play cricket as guests of the 2nd Battalion in the Royal Anglian Army. And this boy got on the dance floor. And when I saw him dance, we came back to the UK and I said, forget about the cricket and the football, you're a dancer. Took this boy to the UK Disco Championship, he won it. Took him to the World Championship, he came 2nd. This boy is the boy who dances with Kylie Minogue. He used to dance with Kylie Minogue. And he made a lot of money and he was sort of wasting his money. And his father came and spoke to me and he said, Mr. Stevenson, Benel will listen to you. Tell Benel to invest his money. And all I said to Benel, property. And he bought a property for 120,000 in London, and I think he sold it for 800,000. So the boy's actually a millionaire now. So in terms of some of the work, my message to young people was education first. Plan A was education and plan B was sports. But people talk about the sports people more, but I have had a lot of people, ex-Rastafarians that end up at the same university as me. People who are doing well, they're in big management jobs now in the UK and around the Caribbean. So not just about the cricket. I think the cricket take a lot of focus because of the visits that I have at my home. You have Jimmy Adams coming through, Courtney Walsh always passing, Garney Green is always passing, Ron Edley, Chris Gale, and many others. And I think people tend to take more interest in the famous players. And it's not really about them. It's about the ordinary human beings.
Thank you, Stevenson, for joining with us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy Media Channel. It's an honor and a privilege to have you on.
Okay, Junior. Yeah, what is the Hall of Fame?
I'll ask the executive chair to run it down for you, and then after that we'll get right into a segment reviewing previewing the upcoming match between Afghanistan and the West Indies that starts at 8:30 Eastern Caribbean Time PM tonight. Executive Chair Michael Chambers.
Mr. Steve Stevenson, good morning, sir. Good morning, guests. Good morning, panelists. I was sitting here listening to your dialogue, and I said to you before, I would want to talk to you again because I don't know where you find the time to do what you have done. And just by listening to you and looking up your history while we were talking, I saw your book online, Amazon, it's for sale, $20. I realized that you should be one of the persons who are nominated to be inducted into the Cricket Hall of Fame.
Okay.
See, the Hall of Fame was organized back in 1980. And we came up with a Hall of Fame because we realized that there were a number of heroes in our community, the West Indian community, who were not being looked at. And because we were privy to Baseball Hall of Fame and Football Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame. We thought we should have a Cricket Hall of Fame in the US.
Okay.
So we organized this group where we look for nominations. People can nominate individuals to be inducted into the Cricket Hall of Fame, just like basketball, just like baseball. We have an induction ceremony once a year, and that is done October. The first Saturday in October, we induct folks into the Hall of Fame. This event takes place usually in Hartford, Connecticut. The Hall of Fame is located in Hartford, Connecticut, USA. And it's owned by a local cricket club, the Sportsmen's Athletic Club. They are the ones who started it back in 1980, and they are the ones who are still supporting it.
Okay.
The main reason for the Hall of Fame is to identify our heroes, cricketers, administrators, goes all the way down to groundsmen who participate in the development and the growth of cricket in the United States of America and worldwide. So that's a quick synopsis. And just to tell you, you qualified. So if we had time, we would put your name in for October 5th, but we would have worked to go find somebody to sponsor you. Because the sponsors would be responsible for getting you to the Hall of Fame, paying all your expenses, getting you a ring, we do rings for the inductee, and getting you a jacket, we do jacket like the golf tournament.
Okay.
So that's what we are.
Michael, it's interesting. I think I helped somebody, a man called Ron Seymour from New York, was involved with your cricket.
Ron Seymour, I don't have a recollection of that name.
A tall, fair-skinned Jamaican. He came to England and was at Edgbaston looking for Brian Lara because he helped Brian Lara when he was young. And Brian Lara, they couldn't get Brian Lara to the changing room at Edgbaston. And I went to the changing room and I said, Brian, if you have a gentleman who had helped you when you was a youngster and the man is outside, you need to come out and speak to the man. So Lara came out because of me and he spoke to the man. I don't know how big he was, but he was from New York and he said he was involved with the cricket there. So maybe some people know his name. Tall gentleman, about 6'6". Lot of brown-skinned gentleman. He came to the UK, was in the UK for about 3 weeks.
What's the name again, Steve?
I think it's Ron Seymour years ago, but it was in New York.
All right, let me try a different name. Roy Sweeney.
Roy Sweeney, that's it, yeah. Roy Sweeney.
Yes. And the reason why Brian Lara is not in the Hall of Fame today is because of that incident, because Roy Sweeney tried to approach him a number of times, and he's done that same thing. He has been non-receptive. And I'm not going to say it's because he wants a certain amount of money to be inducted.
Yeah. Okay, but Brian has helped me a lot because I met Brian before he was famous. They came up, I was helping Dwight York, a footballer, was at Aston Villa, and I went to the change room and I saw Brian and look at David Williams was sitting there. He never played for the West Indies yet. I bought him a drink and I spoke to them. But because they knew that Dwight York had just arrived from Trinidad and he was struggling to get into the Aston Villa team, but my friend Cyril Regis, I put him on to Cyril and Cyril looked after him. So Brian has always been very helpful to me. But as I said before, you know, I've dealt with a lot of these individuals before they had the fame.
I think something, Mike, if you don't mind me saying this, that what you didn't say to Steve is that the Cricket Hall of Fame is the first in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, that is the only one of its type. We do national, which is US, and international. ICC does that too, but they are 20 years after us. They are patterning what we do. Everything we do, they copy.
Yes, and
So we are the first in the world.
And some of the inductees are the Indian Sunil Gavaskar and also Michael, I think Michael Holding and you know, quite a few others, Lawrence Rowe and you know, quite a few others, some big top-notch names that they were
Okay.
inducted for the wonderful work that they have done, and slated to be inducted this October 5th is the Honorable Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. She will be
Yeah.
inducted.
Okay. Yeah. Portia was the one that was bigging me up about my contribution. I was going back. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's a wonderful lady, and
Yes.
panelists Dennis Teague and Leon Francis are slated to be inducted also. The
Okay.
fans and the viewers all over the world are giving me the indication that it's now time to dive into what the topic is, and that's in previewing.
Okay, Judah. It was a privilege. I'm pleased to meet you all. Enough respect to everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, Steve.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for being
Thank
here
you.
with us, and we hope to have you back sometime in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's been a privilege. Thanks.
Absolutely. Morning again to the fans all over the world, and we just had to do some work there in highlighting our patron. He's going to make a significant contribution to the work of the academy, and that's the main purpose why we are here. And so we have to give the love to those that are looking out for us. Before we get into the discussion about the West Indies and Afghanistan, just to get it up and running, some scenes here.
Are you still on, Mr. Codling?
We're still on. We're just playing a slideshow for our viewers. That's the slideshow. We'll bring it back on quite shortly. But Mr. Francis, you were boasting the other day about West Indies being now ranked number 4 in the world. And since you have spoken that they are now number 3, your thoughts on that?
I'm happy that they have moved up in the ranking. And of course, we are all happy that they're playing a match tonight will determine where they are in terms of getting the main prize, that is winning the championship for the third time. I'm excited. I'm happy for them. And I hope they do the right thing, pick the right team tonight, and hopefully they can move up the ranking to be number 1. Delighted for them to move that jump. And the word out is that they have already qualified for the 2026 World Cup. So, cheers to them.
Indeed, they are. When we look on social media and the fans we have seen your comments, and let's take a few comments before we get into it. Somebody here said Windies have what it takes to not just win, but to destroy Afghanistan. He also say again, Windies need to humble Afghanistan. I know we already qualify, but they need to know we are not New Zealand. That's a wonderful comment, I thought, Mr. Heath. Rather, Mr. Francis. We have here David, and David said, I feel like Sheffrin has gained a lot of confidence from the last match. What West Indies bat first? This is the man. West Indies bat first, score 220 Afghanistan, but bat first, score 120. And just news for you that Afghanistan, that New Zealand and Papua New Guinea game will be starting now. But stay with us here while we review the while we preview West Indies and Afghanistan. Michael Chambers, the executive chair. There has been a big contention about Johnson Charles and Shea Hope. We have seen it across social media platform. You have started that conversation firstly, and a lot of viewers and fans all over have taken it up. Do you believe that the management staff and the selectors will bow to pressure, seeing that the game will be staged at the Darren Sammy cricket ground, and also a stand at that cricket ground is named after Johnson Charles, and truth to be told that Charles have not done justice to be on the good side of playing, but the simple reason why we believe that he will play, and I'm not preempting your answer here, but it should be noted that Johnson Charles is a close ally of the now coach and also a St. Lucian by virtue. Your thoughts?
You're muted, Michael.
Good morning, sir, once again, and thanks for the opportunity to speak on this topic. And once again, I have to come from my mind power training. That's what I'm coming from. If Johnson Charles is selected, and he should be selected if you use the criteria, he's going to play in front of home crowd. So if you are thinking, and if the management is thinking that that will fill the Johnson Charles stand, then by all means go ahead. But here's what I am saying. If it was up to me going mind power, this fellow has lost his confidence. If he plays in this match, he's going to be playing in front of a home crowd. He is going to be spell nervous. I can't even spell nervous how I am nervous. If he plays in this game, he's going to be very nervous. He's going to be, this game now should be an easy walkover for him. It's not going to be. For him now, he's going to have to prove himself in front of his people. That is going to be a challenge. Now, if I was Brother Darren Sammy, I would put Charles in the stands, in his stand, because he said in a commercial, come out and fill the stands. He invited them to buy tickets and come, and put him in the middle with a big table with a lot of giveaways, child giveaways, and lot of rum and fun. So he would now be in charge of entertainment in the Charles stand. He would be praying that Shea Hope go out and fail. If Shea Hope fail in his Darren Sammy Stadium, there is no way Shea Hope would be able to come back. None of us would be able to say Darren Sammy should look at Shea Hope. If Shea Hope gets looked at and plays at this match and fail, then Brother Charles is in for the rest of the tournament. So that's the gamble. I would roll the dice if I was Brother Charles. I would sit this out and be in charge of entertainment in my stand. Build my courage and hope that Brother Shea fail. It's a bad thing to do, but it's life. Because he can't get in if Shea don't fail. And Shea can't get in if Charles don't fail. But if Charles fail this time, it could be a signal that he is finished for the rest of the tournament. So that is my take on the Charles Hope situations. Thank you.
Hall of Famer John Melbourne.
Yes, once again, a very good morning to our viewers across the world. Regarding the game this evening against Afghanistan, I don't think if there are changes to the starting 11, Johnson Charles is not going to be one of the changes. He's going to be on the field, and I'm not sure what the thinking of our management team is or will be like, but they might very well decide that, we're going to start with the winning team. The team that has won 3 games so far, that's what is going to take the field. We're not going to break up that combination. And despite the failures of Johnson Charles with the bat and, dropping maybe a crucial catch in the game against New Zealand, but that's cricket. People drop catches. And I can't crucify him for dropping what was probably a simple catch. But as I say, I think the 11 that has started so far is going to be on the field. What is interesting, I've been looking at the Afghanistan games so far. And it's actually a left-arm fast medium bowler, what's his name? Faruqi, I think his name is, who has taken the most wickets for Afghanistan. And they say the wicket in St. Lucia, the Darren Stanley Stadium, is going to have some pace on it, maybe the ball coming on more to the bat. So Faruqi might find himself in trouble against the likes of Brandon King, Johnson Charles, and Koran, because they have not been able to, if you want to play their natural game so far. And this might be their opportunity with the ball coming onto the bat. So, as I say, the starting 11 will be the 11 that has taken the field so far in the 3 games. And that's my take on the situation.
Yeah, Mr. Eat, one of our person watching in the comments here said that Charles is gonna come good soon. He's a high risk player, but he looks very nervous in the last game. He dropped that catch, and his body language was very non. I can't call the last part, but it's important. So the viewers are, in a nutshell, agreeing that Johnson Charles is not paying justice. And but what if he plays tonight? What is your expectation of Johnson Charles? And by all indication, he will play. Your views on it?
Mr. Codlin, thank you. I sincerely hope that the selection panel will not make a selection based on a criteria other than performance. The criteria, if this criteria is applied, then you're sending the wrong message, not just to West Indian cricket, but to cricketers and supporters and fans all around the world. We have experimented with, in the past 3 matches, it is now time to tweak the team so that we are at our optimum. West Indies selection should be bold and make the change. And what I would do, that change would involve bringing in Hope for Charles and Shamar Joseph for Romario Shepherd. The match today has the significance of a warm-up exercise because the teams were pre-seeded before the start of the tournament, which means in previous years you might have team Group A1 might play with Group B2 and so on down the line.
While you're at it, the viewers will get to see what you're talking about in terms of the seeding. Go ahead.
Yeah, the seeding gave, there were 8 of the teams seeded before the start of the tournament, in which India was given the seed number A1, Pakistan was A2, England was B1, Australia was seeded B2, New Zealand is seeded C1, West Indies seeded C2, South Africa D1, and Sri Lanka D2. Now in that group, it means that since Pakistan and Sri Lanka failed, the team in their group who did not fail but who came forward but were unseeded, they would now assume that position that Pakistan would have had and Sri Lanka. So in this case, we'd have Afghanistan and Bangladesh coming into the top, the Super 8. So my point being that it is of little significance for the West Indies to finish 1 or 2 because their group that they will be eventually playing in will not change regardless of whether they're 1 or 2. So this is the opportunity here for West Indies to tweak the side to get the optimum performance. And by bringing in Shamar and Hope will balance the batting ahead of Charles, who is really suspicious in terms of his performance. And we know we need a quicker bowler than Shepherd, somebody who can attack the stumps. And so I would definitely bring Shamar Joseph in. So my only 2 changes would be Hope for Charles and Shamar Joseph for Romario Shepherd. Back to you, Mr. Cotton.
Your thoughts, Mr. Brown, on the Johnson Charles saga and also on the chances of the West Indies against Afghanistan?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Codlin. The key phrase for this game tonight is no pressure. And the players who excel when there is no pressure, they will excel tonight. And Johnson Charles is one of them. The fact that the game is being played in St. Lucia, and based on what you hear the captain and the coach says, all indications are that he will play. Now, this game might not be important in terms for the standings or anything like that. But remember, it's the West Indies' first game in this tournament on this ground. Their next match in the Super 8 will be against England at this same ground. So players will need to get acclimatized themselves to the cricket pitch, to the surroundings, etc. Bowlers will need to know exactly what length they can bowl, and batsmen will need to know how the ball comes onto the bat. And so far, we are on an unbeaten streak. However, with the batting, we don't have a consistency, especially with the top order. So it is important that whoever plays tonight, they more than likely will be the team that will face England, barring injury. So it's very important. I don't see them playing an 11 tonight and then bringing in somebody brand new to face England when everything counts, because they really can't afford to lose against England. You want to continue that winning streak and be on the road to qualification. So when you look at it, for example, Mr. Ruston Chase, I know he's in form, but he has only had one inning of note in the World Cup so far. That was in the very first match against a very weak Papua New Guinea. And he has not made a run since that game. Now, in defense of him, he did not get to bat against Uganda, and he was out for a duck with a very uncharacteristic stroke in the last game against New Zealand. He basically threw away his wicket, and he only bowled 1 over. The last 2 games combined, he has only bowled 1 over combined. for the 2 games. So it leads me to wonder exactly now what is his role in the team going forward, because he has not really contributed anything outside of fielding for the last 2 games. So let's see where they bat him tonight and if they will play him. With the bowlers, I would only see them possibly resting Alzarri Joseph. And if they do rest him, I would expect them, I don't know who they'll rest him with. I would prefer Obed McCoy, because McCoy has a reputation of bowling well at the death, in the death overs. And when he plays for the West Indies, that's the role in which he plays. So he would actually be Alzarri Joseph's backup for that role. And it's a like-for-like swap there with him. The rest of the team, I don't believe they'll really make any changes. And again, if they do and play Charles, I would believe that they would play Hope along with Charles, and whoever comes good would play the next match. That I think would be the better thing to do at this stage. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. On the 21st, the West Indies will take on the United States. Mr. Francis, how you envision that lineup? 2 host countries, conflict of interest. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be a good matchup. The USA team is coming up with a high despite the loss against the USA, but not against the USA, against India. But West Indies should be able to come through that match. Going back to the lineup, and I note that Brother Dale mentioned the fact that he could rest Alzarri Joseph. A good thought there, and I would love to see Shamar Joseph get a knock just to test the atmosphere. But I don't see the West Indies having any problems with the USA. But they are confident. They are a very confident team right now. They have their support. At least some of the players are from the islands, and they're accustomed to fast bowling. But I really don't see them doing much to prevent West Indies' victory tonight against in the first round.
Right. Mr. Honorary Secretary Dale Brown, one of our viewers said here that we need the extra all-rounder in Shepherd. Yes, we don't really come good yet, but we expect him to talk very soon. And he said again, I would like to see Shamar Joseph get a run in this match, but not sure who he can replace. Your response to this?
Dealing with Shepherd, first of all, I agree totally. Shepherd is very vital role to the team, and we could see like in the last match he didn't make a lot of runs, but the 13 that he made was very crucial in helping Rutherford to steady the ship, and he didn't hold up proceedings. He scored at a decent rate and helped, as I said, helped Rutherford. And his bowling, you have to look at when he bowls. He bowls in the power play and at the death. And he really got hit around in that last over because the batsmen were throwing everything at him, when he bowled. But he's okay. I expect him to maintain his place in the team. Joseph, I would love to see him get a game. But again, if you're picking people to replace persons and perform in the role that the other player performed in, he is not, he doesn't have the experience, first of all, but he's not a death bowler. And I really think McCoy, many persons ignore him and ignore the fact that when he was playing for the West Indies consistently, he was the man that would bowl in those difficult times. And because of his in-swinging cutter with as a left-hander, he caused problems to right-handers, you know, a lot. And he proved himself. So I would like to see him get a chance, just in case they need him later down the road.
Absolutely. John Melbourne, your response to the inclusion, the continued inclusion of really out of form Romario Shepherd at this time. Do you think a rest is deserving for him and to have him back against England refreshed?
I don't think Romario Shepherd has necessarily failed. He has only played in 2 innings. The second game against who was that? Against Uganda, he was 5 not out at the end, and he made 13 against New Zealand, and really played a crucial partnership with Shrufi and Rutherford down at the bottom. As Dale mentioned, he bowls at the death. As far as I'm concerned, Romario Shepherd is one of the comps in this West Indies setup for the T20 World Cup. Between Rutherford, Shepherd, and Russell, they are and Powell, the big hitters in this West Indies lineup. And it has not really, if you want to say, materialized yet, except for Shepherd in the last game. But I think these 4 guys are crucial in this West Indies lineup. And Romario Shepherd, as I say, will remain in the team. I'm really not expecting a change in tonight's game. I believe this is the 11 that they figure will go into the Super 8, barring injury. So as I say, Romario Shepherd is one of the crucial pieces in the makeup of this World Cup squad. So you know, that's really my take on it.
Yeah. Mike, we asked you at the start of the World Cup, and we did brought up, you know, Akeem Hussain and his lack of form, and you praised him towards the end, and he did repay you with some wonderful performance, and since then he has been a third favorite team that plays in this World Cup. Are you willing to take the same bet on Romario Shepherd, because it has to be said that he has to deliver now, and if he plays tonight, he must deliver?
Well, that's my fear. If he plays tonight, he must deliver, and if he don't deliver, then I think they're going to drop him out of the squad and he won't see daylight again. So I am thinking, put him aside, bring in Shamari Joseph, and see what happens. Same thing with our boy Johnson Charles. Put him aside, let the 2 of them do entertainment in the Johnson Charles stand. Serve liquor, give out gift goods, so their confidence is up, so they're waiting, and it's not a bad thing. I used to play on teams where the number 11 batsman is hoping that the rest of the men fail so he can get a bat. So it's nothing wrong with ego sometimes. Hussain, his form was off, but I listened to his statement about how he would change himself to match the other players. So that is telling me that he has some mind power training. My brother Charles is scared. How we going to bring him out? Entertainment treatment. So if Shamari comes and he does not deliver, because remember now, Shamari Joseph has no experience in T20. So he might bowl in one match and we never see him again for the rest of the series, because we will see how good he's going to operate tonight. So that is why I'm looking at I'm not worried about anybody else failing. I'm just worried that if Charles comes up Brother Dale said this is not a pressure. This is a pressure game for the only player on the team is for Charles, because he will be playing in front of a home crowd. He just, I don't know if you guys watch his face when he dropped that catch, you know. And he didn't drop the catch because he couldn't take the catch. He dropped the catch because he was telling himself that he was going to drop it. He was scared. So we have to get him over that threshold. Because he's a good cricketer, don't get me wrong. And when he starts beating the ball, that's who we want there. But let's build his confidence by not playing him. And so you explain to him, we are not dropping you because we are dropping you because. So do entertainment today. You ever see some guys who used to carry water for the team? Dave Cameron is one of those. He used to carry water, used to scoreboard. He became president of the team. So this is where Brother Charles is. And the team is going, don't worry about Afghanistan now. I am perfectly convinced that US would have to make sure that they entertain the West Indies team the night before the game. Have a trick, invite them out for drinks. And like I used to do, I used to drink water and give the other players the rum. Understand? The only way US can beat West Indies is if the West Indies players are lack of sleep. That's the only way.
And we'll be diving into that as the matches come thick and fast.
Right.
This Afghanistan game. Mr. Eid, the battle between Hope and Johnson Charles might not be a battle that Hope will win, but certainly him coming in for Ruston Chase, being a fast bowler pitch that is not known to take spin, and with the infam Akil Hussain, the infam Goodish Kish Booty, would you play Hope at that pivotal number 4 position and ask Chase to sit out this game until we meet England, which the pitching in Antigua is more conducive to spin? Would you make a swap right at that crucial position, seeing that there's not much that is hinged on this game by your own confession in your previous state?
Yes, that's the one compromise I think I could live with. Chase for Hope. That is, it would not significantly affect the makeup of the team. However, you know, Brother Dale said that Johnson Charles, that Hope, I think he said, made only 1 innings, if I'm remembering correctly. But I want to point out that Charles only had 1 innings of the 3. 1 good innings of the 3. So to say Hope has not really produced that much does not actually equate the 2. Chase was not required in one of the earlier matches because of this, the performance of the rest of the team. So I can't hold that against him. But certainly, as a matter of tweaking the team, yes, I could consider substituting. I would consider definitely substituting Chase for Hope. And I have a note on my screen that my mic is muted. Is that correct, Mr. Codlin?
We're hearing you clear.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, and as far as resting Joseph, no, I would certainly not rest Alzari Joseph for the simple reason that he had enough rest in the IPL of late.
Yes,
so,
and he just came into his own in the last month.
And that's my other point, Mr. Codlin. He is just now beginning to have that resurgent, demonstrating his class and his ability. So under no circumstance would I rest Alzari Joseph. And because of the fact that if we're going to introduce Shamar Joseph, we need for him to come in a match like this and bowl his 4 over so we can really get a good first-hand look at what he can offer West Indies and how much challenge he could be for the England team and the rest of the Group Super 8 matches. If he fails in this one, then that's a good opportunity to, of course, give him more time to blend and bud. But for now, definitely no resting of Alzari Joseph. And one other point, Mr. Codlin, I would give credit to Darren Sammy for his approach and the fact that he's transformed the West Indies T20 squad or white ball squad to a great extent, because prior to his arrival, the West Indies had not a hope of being in this 2024 T20 Super Cup because they failed to qualify in most instances. So I'm going to give credit to Darren Sami and his team for what he has brought, the changes he has brought, the consolidation and the confidence that we now see the team displaying badly. I hope that West Indies not going into this match tonight with the idea that they want to humble Afghanistan. We're going into this match with the idea that we want to tweak the side so that it is perfect for the Super 8, and we will do what it takes to win, but at the same time, we will not go out with the false illusion that we're going to tame the side. Back to you, Mr. Scotland.
Good. One of our commenters, Jason Humphrey. Good morning. How the pitch in St. Lucia look? Does it look a fast bowler or spin? Mr. Francis, traditionally, the pitch in St. Lucia has been the best in the Caribbean for many years now. Do you think it has changed? And
definitely that it has not changed in my view, but who knows if there is weather in that part of the world and it could provide more assistance to the Pacers. That's why I would prefer to see him in for Shepherd, but I know the chances are Shepherd would retain his place as well as Johnson Charles. I see Johnson Charles out of form, badly out of form, and like Mr. Chambers said, he dropped that catch, not because he could not take the catch, but he has lost his confidence. And when a player loses his confidence, you really have to let him realize that he has to do something extra, change something, because he can't go on doing the same thing. He doesn't see the ball early enough. It seems as if he's not seen the ball, because a couple ball beat him twice, and he still
and a lot of viewers and a lot of persons on the grounds, we the panelists and no member of this channel is suggesting that Johnson Charles cannot see at night. We're just repeating what we're hearing on the road, so nobody should ever think to send any of us any lawsuit. We're just repeating what we are hearing, and word on the street is that Johnson Charles cannot see at night. So don't play him in any night game. That's what normal fans are saying. We're not saying that. We don't know that. We're just repeating, and we have to do our job by repeating what we're hearing. So back to you, Mr. Francis.
Yeah, thanks for that comment. All in all, I want West Indies to win. And whatever team they put on the field, I hope they will win. And my only suggestion is that in my humble view, I make some changes. Not that you're going to discard Charles forever, but a situation may not warrant him playing. Even he has scored the most runs on that grounds. That is one of the credit they're giving to him. And of course, he has played there more than most other players too. But it doesn't seem as if he has that confidence at this point. And I'd love to see Shamar Joseph comes in and to be for Shepherd. I don't disregard Shepherd's contribution, in the future, in the past, and I know he has a great part to play in West Indies' future in the coming years. But you have to play horses for courses sometimes, and I think Charles, and like that wicket is famous for his pace. It's a good wicket, a pitch, and I know he may do well if he's given a chance. But whatever team is put on the field, I'll support West Indies cricket. Even they pick up Jimmy on the pitch, I'm going to support West Indies. But just that you may have to make some horses for changes because the situation warrants it, and I'm going to go with the team they pick, but not to really diminish the ability of any player. But sometimes when a player is off form, you have to really make them understand that, hey, listen, you got to do something extra to get back where you were. So that's my take.
Absolutely. We want to thank all the viewers that are on at this time. Remember that the Cricket Hall of Fame based in Hartford, Connecticut, United States is the main sponsor for this cricket show that we're putting out from the 1st of June to the 30th of June, where we are covering the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup, West Indies. We thank all that has joined us and for being on, for sharing your comments, for contributing in the comments as best as you can. We're asking you to read the description below the show that you're watching and how you can contribute to this academy of ours, because we're greatly in need of bat, ball, gloves, kits of all kind and nature. We're in need of batting cage. We're in need of cameras. We're in need of devices that will go towards creating and making our young cricketers the best they can be. And we're certainly looking forward to your financial support, as it will go towards giving players stipend to be able to come to the training fields and nutrition for them and so forth. And so whatever you do is going towards the upliftment of these cricketers. And we also, as you know, would have overhead costs, and your funds will go towards taking care of those costs as well. So whatever you do, whatever contribution you make will go towards the upliftment of this academy of ours. As we now about to wrap up this show, as we get ready to leave, your final thoughts, John Melbourne, on one of those that comment asking for West Indies to humble Afghanistan. In your closing comments, are you looking for the West Indies to humble Afghanistan or to fine-tune getting ready for an important game against England and then against a resurgent South Africa?
I am not. I wouldn't use the word humble Afghanistan, because it's not as if we play England or Australia and we want to humble them. It's just about winning, and I am hoping that West Indies win this game tonight against Afghanistan, so that they can move into the Super 8 with some amount of confidence. And as I mentioned before, the left-hand fast bowler, Faruqi from Afghanistan, he has been the man taking the wickets for them so far, as well as I think is Naveem ul Haq has taken some of the wickets, and Rashid Khan. And it's Rashid Khan is a leg break googly bowler. Naveem ul Haq, a right arm medium fast, and as I mentioned, Faruqi, a left arm fast medium. So it's a matter of our batsmen adjusting, and I find it interesting that it's more their Afghanistan quickies that have been taking the wickets for them. And if the wicket in at the Darren Sammy stadium is playing with any kind of pace, then it could be a good sign for our top order batsmen for the first time to be able to open up their shoulders and play shots. So I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Hopefully that the West Indies will win. I know there's been a lot of discussion with Johnson Charles, and so interesting. He's a two-time World Cup winner. Johnson Charles has been around, but I think almost 13 years now. It's interesting. His record in T20 cricket, he has had something like 50 something T20 matches, 18 of which have been in World Cup cricket. So, he's experienced, I guess, in World Cup cricket. And it's just a matter of him, as Mike says, getting some confidence and putting down another good innings for West Indies tonight. As I said, Johnson Charles will be on that field tonight, and I look forward to West Indies winning that game tonight. So, and that's really my take on it so far.
Mike Chambers, your final comment.
West Indies will win, and it's not about humbling. If we're going to win, we have to bowl them out for under 70 and make a statement. So it's not humbling, but make a statement that we are here to stay. So that's what I'm looking for. So whoever they put in the team is going to be up to the selectors. My only ask of Darren Sammy is that he stays away from the field, stay in his box, make his comments. He should have done all the talking to the players by now. They should be saturated. He should have planted all the seeds that he wanted to plant in the team. He should have done that at all the team meetings, at all the viewing of the replays. We should have done all of those. So I would not want to see him running down to the sideline and talking to the captain anymore. I would love for him to discontinue that practice. That's my final words.
Mr. Honorary Secretary, Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Again, expectations is based on the execution of the game plan, because there's no taking off anything, and they have to play the game to the fullest of their ability. They are on a very, they are on like a 6-7 match winning streak overall, from 3 against South Africa, 1 against Australia, albeit it was a warm-up game, and then now 3 in this stage. You keep your foot, keep the pedal to the metal, and go full steam ahead. The batting has still not shown the type of consistency that is needed, and the batsmen have to show that they can adapt to whatever the surface is offering. We saw the awareness of Rutherford, who understood that he needed to be patient, read the game very well, knew that New Zealand's last 2 overs were not going to be bowled by frontline bowlers, and he took full advantage of that. But it's because he planned and he was aware of the moment. I would like to see similarity from Mr. Pooran, although we know that once he gets off, he can, just destroy any bowling attack. But it's not every pitch that is made for you to just keep swinging for the fences like that. And I would like to see him work the ball around a little more. And the batsmen need fine-tuning. No one in the 3 matches so far has reached 100 runs for the tournament. And I think that is reflective of the lack of consistency. Very few players have had innings over 20 runs okay? And the two persons with innings over 20 runs, 2 innings over 20 runs in the 3 games would be Rutherford and Pooran. Rutherford had a 22 and a 68 not out, and Pooran had a 27 and a 22. And he also had a 17. He's getting the starts, but he's not continuing. And he's, for me, giving away his wickets needlessly. The last game, he got dropped in the over, and then 2 balls later, he skied one. He didn't capitalize on that reprieve. He ended up skying a ball and getting out. To me, he was literally gave away his wicket. So I just like to see that consistency. Keep the bowling unit tight. Make sure persons are used when in the role to fill the role and function in the role that you pick them to function in. Because you can't put people up and down, because it's not everybody that can open the bowling, and it's not everybody that can bowl when people are just swinging the bat at every ball on the bowl. You need a bowler with good variety who can cut his pace and vary his pace, which is what Russell and Alzarri Joseph can do. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Yee?
Yes, I think West Indies will win if the selectors do the right thing and select a team with the Super 8 matches as the focus. Get the team to get their mindset in the right place and focus their aim. It is important to tweak the team tonight in preparation for that goal. And tweaking the team just require, in my opinion, 2 changes, and that's Hope for Charles and Lamario Shepherd for Shamar Joseph. Other than that, I think that they can win this match, but they have to remember what the goal is.
Your last statement, Mr. Francis.
Yeah, thank you again. I want West Indies to treat each and every match from henceforth as if it were the finals. So tonight should not be no different. I am not satisfied with the performance of some of the batters. And of course, Brother Dale mentioned about the batsmen and even the captain. I don't like how he's batting at this point as well. But I hope that they turn around the game as far as the batting is concerned. But I predict they'll win. It's not going to be easy. But whatever teams they pick, I'll support. And I just want to let them know that you are in the final, you're at home, and you should use these conditions and improve. We have not seen a thorough display of real batting from our West Indies team. Powerhouse Russell has done well, but his bowling was up and down a little bit. And just want to see they bring the A game to the game. Apart from the monetary compensation that they'll get for winning, I want them to come and see. We are at home. You don't come into my yard and win. I need you to win. Victory is the key. There should be no other factor involved, but winning is contagious, and you just have to continue winning. And I hope they do so tonight. And I wish them all the best. Thank you again, Mr. Coughlin and panelists. It was a joy being a part of the panel today as well.
Absolutely, and we thank our viewers from all over the world for joining us once again here on the West Indies Cricket Development Academy channel, and we certainly continue to look towards you for support in whatever way you can support us. You can reach us at 1-876-853-9236. You can also type West Indies Cricket Development Academy in your WhatsApp that asks Meta or search. You can type West Indies Cricket Development Academy there, and it will give you information on our academy. Michael Chambers, the Executive Chair of the Cricket Hall of Fame, thank you for joining again, and thank the Hall of Fame for sponsoring this show. Leon Francis, that you viewers are seeing on your screen is the president of the Cricket Show USA. Thank you for joining us as well. Also, Hall of Famer John Melbourne, thank you for joining. And Honorary Secretary of the Hall of Fame, Mr. Dale Brown, thank you for joining. And slated to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame come October 5th, journalist Dennis, thank you for joining. And as you know, I am your host, Junior Catlin. From all of us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy, goodbye.